My name is Dr. Lauren Hayes. I have held a man's heart in my hands. Literally. In the operating room, when everything goes wrong, my hands never shake. Not once. Not ever. But one Tuesday afternoon, after a 12-hour shift, a woman said 4 words to me in a hospital hallway. And those 4 words broke something inside me that no surgery could fix. She said, "He finally found happiness." And she smiled. She smiled the way people smile when they want you to feel small. That woman was my ex-mother-in-law. Her name was Patricia Caldwell. And what she didn't know, what none of them knew, was that 30 feet behind her, a door was opening. And the person walking through that door was about to destroy everything they had built. But before I tell you what happened next, you need to understand what they took from me, and how long I stayed quiet while they took it. I grew up in a small town in Indiana. The kind of town where your business is everyone's business. Where people talk about you at church on Sunday and smile at your face on Monday. My mother cleaned hotel rooms. My father drove long-haul trucks until his spine gave out. We didn't have money. We had work ethic. And I used every bit of mine. I studied through nights when other people were sleeping. I worked through weekends when other people were celebrating. I became a doctor, an emergency room physician. And I built one rule I lived by every single day. Do your work. Tell the truth. Stay calm. That rule saved lives inside the hospital. But outside those walls, it almost destroyed mine. I married Daniel Caldwell when I was 29. He was exactly what everyone in our town called a good man. Charming. Confident. The kind of person who remembered your name the first time he heard it. I loved him. I genuinely did. We wanted a family. At least. I thought we both did. Month after month passed. Then year after year. The silence in our house got louder. After 2 years, I suggested something simple. Let's both get tested. It's routine, I told him. I ordered these tests for my patients all the time. Daniel's face changed. He laughed first. Then he got defensive. Then he got angry. He told me the problem could not possibly be him. He said I was being dramatic. He walked out of the room. I didn't push. You cannot drag a grown adult into a doctor's office. So I went alone. 3 weeks later, my results came back. Everything was completely normal. I sat in my car and stared at that paper for a long time. If there was no medical reason on my side, then what was really happening? I didn't know. And when you don't have the truth, other people will manufacture one for you. What I didn't know was this. Daniel had already been talking to his mother. Little comments. Little hints. Little suggestions. He told Patricia that maybe Lauren was the reason. Maybe something was wrong with her. Maybe she simply wasn't capable of becoming a mother. Patricia believed him immediately. She always did. To her, Daniel could do no wrong. If he said something, it became truth. And Patricia had a gift for spreading truth. I first noticed it at a church potluck. She introduced me to a woman I had never met. "This is Lauren," she said warmly. "She's a wonderful doctor." Then she leaned in and lowered her voice. The way people do when they want everyone around them to hear. Such a shame about the children. The woman looked at me with pity. I felt my stomach drop. That was the sentence Patricia would use for years. Some women just aren't built for motherhood. She believed it. She genuinely believed it. And somehow, that hurt more than if she had been openly cruel. My best friend since high school was a woman named Jenna Monroe. Jenna knew every part of my life. She stood beside me at my wedding. She held my hand when my father passed. She was the first person I called when things got too painful to carry alone. Whenever the gossip became unbearable, Jenna would come over. She'd bring snacks. She'd bring wine. She'd sit on my couch and say exactly the right things. "You don't need children to be complete, Lauren. Don't listen to Patricia. Daniel loves you." The words always sounded right. But looking back, they always circled back to the same wound. The thing I supposedly lacked. The thing everyone believed was broken inside me. I didn't see the other signs. I didn't notice how often Jenna watched Daniel. I didn't notice how much she seemed to know about his schedule. I didn't notice the small things that, one day, would become impossible to ignore. I trusted her completely. That trust would become the most expensive mistake of my life. I came home one evening after a long shift. There was an envelope on the kitchen counter. I thought it was a bill. It wasn't. Divorce papers. I stood there. I read the first page. Then the second. Half of Daniel's clothes were already gone from the closet. He hadn't waited to tell me in person. He had simply left. Within 3 days, the entire town knew. Within a week, Daniel was living with Jenna Monroe. My husband. My best friend. The story that spread was almost identical every time you heard it. Lauren cared more about her career than her marriage. Lauren was cold. Lauren couldn't give Daniel a family. Lauren drove him away. Patricia made sure everyone heard it. And Jenna never corrected a single word. The two people who knew me best allowed me to become the villain in my own story, and I stayed quiet. Because I believed, with my whole heart, that the truth would eventually speak for itself. It didn't. Months passed. Then a year. I threw myself into work. The hospital became my safe place. Inside those walls, nobody cared about church gossip. Nobody called me broken. Nobody pitied me. I was simply Dr. Lauren Hayes. And that was almost enough. 4 years, I had worked toward becoming head of emergency medicine. I had written patient protocols, trained new staff, built systems that the entire department still used. Everyone expected me to get the promotion. Even I expected it. Then things started shifting. Strange questions began appearing. People asked about my emotional stability, about my personal life, about whether I was really the right fit. A hospital board member who happened to know Daniel's family started making small comments. Nothing direct. Nothing you could confront. Just enough to plant doubt. When the promotion was announced, someone else got it. Someone with less experience. Fewer accomplishments. A shorter record. I sat in that conference room and listened to the explanation. It sounded polite, professional, reasonable. But I knew what had happened. The lie had followed me to work. And it had cost me the one thing I had protected above everything else. My career. That night I sat alone in my car in the hospital parking garage. The lot was almost empty. I stared through the windshield. And I finally admitted something to myself. My silence wasn't protecting me. My silence was protecting them. A trusted colleague gave me a name. Her name was Rebecca Torres. One of the best defamation attorneys in the state. I sat in her office 2 weeks later. And I told her everything. When I finished, she folded her hands. "What you're describing," she said. "Maybe defamation." She explained the 3 things we needed to prove. 1, the statements were false. 2, they were shared publicly. 3, they caused real, measurable harm. "The harm part is easy," she said. "The lost promotion proves that." Then she paused. "The hard part is proving the statements were false." I knew exactly what she meant. The entire town believed I was the reason we never had children. How was I supposed to prove otherwise? Rebecca looked at me. "Sometimes silence is not strength," she said. "Sometimes silence only protects the people who are lying." Those words stayed with me for 2 weeks. Every morning. Every night. And then one Monday. I picked up the phone. "I'm ready," I said. She said one word back. "Good." And the chain of events that followed. None of us could stop. When the lawsuit became public, the town exploded. People talked about it at church, at grocery stores, at school pickups. Some people called me brave. Most people called me bitter. Patricia reacted exactly how Rebecca predicted. Instead of backing down, she got louder. She told everyone I was trying to destroy a family. That grief had made me vindictive. That I wanted to punish Daniel for finding happiness. Every time she repeated the lie, she unknowingly helped my case. If they keep insisting the story is true, Rebecca told me, eventually they'll have to prove it. Then came the mistake. Daniel's legal team filed their official response. Rebecca called me immediately. They made an error, she said. What kind of error? The biggest one possible. They had officially claimed, in a legal document, that I was the reason the marriage never produced children. I still didn't fully understand why that mattered. Rebecca explained. If they want to prove you were the problem, they may have to open Daniel's medical history too. My heart stopped. For years, Daniel had refused every conversation about testing. For years, he had acted as if this question belonged only to me. Now that wall might crack. That night, a memory I had buried came back. 7 years earlier, Daniel had taken a day trip to a clinic in the city. He called it a routine checkup. He left early in the morning. When he came home that evening, he was different. Quiet. Irritable. Distracted. When I asked if something was wrong, he snapped at me. Then he changed the subject. After that day, he never brought up fertility testing again. Not once. At the time, I thought nothing of it. Now it felt like everything. I called Rebecca the next morning. She listened carefully. It's not proof, she said. But it gives us a reason to ask questions. She filed a motion requesting access to relevant medical records. Daniel's team fought it hard. They argued privacy. They argued relevance. They argued everything they could think of. And watching them fight so hard to protect what they kept calling nothing made me certain. People do not fight like that to protect nothing. Weeks later, the judge made a decision. Rebecca called me while I was between patients. I stepped into a supply room. The judge approved it, she said. The records had to be produced. I leaned against a shelf. For a moment, I couldn't speak. Across town, something changed. Patricia called Rebecca's office 3 times. Daniel requested emergency meetings with his lawyer. For the first time. They were afraid. Then Jenna texted me. The first message in over a year. Please stop this. Think about the baby. I stared at the screen. The lawsuit had nothing to do with Jenna. Nothing to do with her child. So why was she terrified? I read the message again. Please stop this. Think about the baby. The fear in those words was real. And I became very, very curious. 8 days later, Rebecca called. Come to the office. Her voice was steady, but there was something underneath it. When I arrived, she was already waiting. She slid a single page across the desk. Most of it was sealed under court protection. Only one section was visible. One paragraph. One diagnosis. One sentence. 7 years earlier, Daniel had been diagnosed with a permanent medical condition. That made biological fatherhood impossible. I stared at the page. My hands were perfectly still. But inside, everything collapsed. He had known. He had known the entire time. While his mother told rooms full of. While I drove home alone asking myself what was broken inside me. He had known. While I stayed quiet. Protecting a truth that wasn't even mine to carry. He had known. The lie had never been mine. He had handed it to me. So he wouldn't have to hold it himself. Then another thought hit me. If Daniel could not father a child, then whose baby was Jenna raising? The baby everyone celebrated. The baby Patricia bragged about at church. The baby Daniel introduced to the world as his son. That child could not be his. Not biologically. Suddenly Jenna's text made complete sense. Please stop this. Think about the baby. She wasn't protecting Daniel. She was protecting a secret. Rebecca agreed. There's more here, she said. Let the court find it. And it did. The answer arrived through a man named Marcus Webb. Months before Jenna became pregnant. She had been secretly involved with Marcus. When she chose Daniel instead, she disappeared from Marcus's life completely. Blocked his number. Ignored his messages. Never told him she was pregnant. But Marcus had a timeline that never added up. Eventually, someone mentioned the hospital where Jenna delivered. Someone mentioned the dates. And Marcus decided to find out the truth for himself. That was the man who walked through those hospital doors. The same afternoon Patricia was smiling at me in the hallway. The moment Jenna saw him, all the color left her face. She knew. She knew exactly why he was there. And she couldn't stop it. Genetic testing confirmed what everyone had started to suspect. Marcus was the biological father, not Daniel. The news shattered everything. What hurt me most wasn't even the lie about me. What hurt was realizing Daniel had probably known about the baby, too. He had known about his own diagnosis. He had known the child couldn't be his. He had known the child couldn't be his. And he still used that baby as proof. Proof that he was the man the town believed him to be. Proof that I had failed him. The cruelty of that stayed with me for a long time. Daniel's legal team approached Rebecca about a settlement. Private. Quiet. Money. A formal correction sent to the hospital board. A promise to repair my name. Rebecca placed the offer on the desk. It's a strong offer, she admitted. I understood that. But the lies about me had never been whispered. They had been said at church. At dinner tables. In hospital hallways. People had heard the lie in public. They deserved to hear the truth in public. No, I said. Rebecca looked at me. You're sure? Yes. She nodded. Then we go to court. Before the hearing, Patricia came to my apartment. She stood at my door looking smaller than I remembered. I didn't know, she said. Her voice was barely above a whisper. I didn't know any of it. I believed her. She had genuinely believed the lie her son handed her. She had spread it faithfully. Because she trusted him the way only a mother can. I didn't have anger left for Patricia. Only grief. Grief for both of us. In the end, the case settled publicly. A formal statement was read into the court record. The hospital board received an official correction. My name was restored. My promotion was reconsidered. I didn't celebrate. I went to work the next morning. I treated patients. I saved a man who had come in with a chest injury. I smiled when families needed reassurance. And I finally, after all those years, stopped carrying a lie that was never mine. If you are listening to this right now, and there is a lie out there with your name on it, I need you to hear something. Silence is not always strength. Sometimes, staying quiet only protects the person who is lying. The truth will not always defend itself. Sometimes, you have to stand up and defend it yourself. I waited too long. Don't make the same mistake I did. She stayed quiet for 7 years while they destroyed her name, then the court found one document. She was a doctor. Her husband left. Her best friend took him. And for 7 years, everyone believed the lie. Then one medical record changed everything. Betrayal story, revenge story, karma story, woman wronged, defamation story, best friend betrayal, husband cheated, justice story, emotional story, true story voiceover, the unheld girl, family betrayal, court justice, medical secret, silent woman wins.